I want to go over a bunch of stuff in today's video, including The Last of Us Part 2 is finally going to be getting a huge info drop. A media event is set for September 24th, and new information is seemingly incoming. Hopefully with this, we finally get a release date announcement. I'll go over all of my expectations and what you guys should be looking forward to. Also, Greedfall is a game that I was highly looking forward to, a brand new open world RPG coming from the guys at Spiders, and Focus Home Interactive was the publishers. The reviews are in and they're looking fairly good, given that this was a lower budget game. Its Metascore is currently a 75, so I do want to take a look at what some of the reviewers are saying. And also, Monster Hunter World Iceborne just dropped a few days ago, but Amazon has already got the base game alongside the expansion at a discounted price, $50 instead of $60. We'll highlight that at the end of this video. But first up again, The Last of Us Part 2 is a game that I've been waiting to hear more on for quite a while. I originally thought that it was going to be Sony's major exclusive this year for the fall season. However, it turned out that Death Stranding is going to be that game, so the question remains, when are we going to know more about The Last of Us Part 2? I necessarily don't want to see more gameplay of the game because it's The Last of Us, it's Naughty Dog. I'm already sold on the game based on that bit of information, and the gameplay that we saw at E3 2018 looked incredible, but since then, it's been absolutely quiet on the game. However, Sony Interactive Entertainment America will host a The Last of Us Part 2 media event on September 24th. Here's the invitation to the event, which was shared by the Game Awards creator Jeff Keighley. It notes The Last of Us Part 2 media event September 24, 2019, Los Angeles, California. Please RSVP to your PR content if you are a media member. So it doesn't go over anything more than that, but if you are doing a big showcase for The Last of Us Part 2 and you're not announcing the release date at this point, you are doing it completely wrong. It gets to that point where, as we know more and more about these games, and we know these games are in development, the question is usually entirely focused on, well, when am I going to be able to play the game? We already know The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be incredible. If you show us some gameplay and just hit us with, it'll be ready when it's ready, no, that isn't good enough anymore. The game's been in development for so long, people have been looking forward to it, even without gameplay. We don't need more gameplay. Is gameplay really going to sell anyone on the game? Sure, if we see Joel in the game, maybe that'll get us a little bit more excited or whatever the case may be, but I think the majority of people play The Last of Us, they know Naughty Dog's track record, and they're buying the game regardless, so just let us know when we're gonna be able to buy the game. That's what I want coming out of this media event, and anything more that we hear, whether it be news on the single player, whether it be news on multiplayer, anything like that, hey, that's cool, that's dandy, that's fine, but it all should be preceded by a release date announcement, and it was rumored that the game would be released in February, so if a February release is gonna be happening, now would be around the time that you would announce the release date, given that games that are coming out after the fact, like a Cyberpunk 2077 and a Final Fantasy VII Remake, those games already have their release date locked in, so why doesn't The Last of Us Part 2 have that locked in yet, if it is in fact coming in February, which I think makes a lot of sense. However, if it does come in February, man, can you look at that release window from February, March, April? Last of Us Part 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cyberpunk 2077, and you know a bunch of other games are coming around the same time as well. When you look at early 2020 versus fall 2019, early 2020 without a doubt has the bigger marquee titles. Final Fantasy VII Remake and Cyberpunk 2077, those games are already confirmed, and honestly, in the 4-month window between September to December, is there any game at the caliber of those two titles in terms of marquee appeal? No, and then you pile on a Last of Us Part 2 in that 3 or 4 month window, it is absolute insanity, and that's why I've been saying early 2020 looks even more insane than fall 2019, which traditionally speaking, the fall is generally the time that you see the big colossal game release. I know you guys are excited for Death Stranding, and so am I. It's a Hideo Kojima project, but I'll take The Last of Us Part 2 over Death Stranding. Yeah, I am that confident in Naughty Dog and The Last of Us Part 2. Now we just need a release date, and hopefully we finally get that at the media event. Now, this is a media event. They're letting people know about it, so it's not just gonna be a release date. They're probably gonna show off a sizable amount of gameplay if it's actually being held in a venue, and it's being promoted as an event. I think that's really cool as well, because that's how you make a game truly feel special. Look, The Last of Us Part 2 is this big of a game that we have to hold a media event in LA, in California, and we're gonna hype up that event for one singular game. E3 is cool and all, and I love covering E3. However, E3 is a dedicated event for the entire gaming industry. In the case of The Last of Us Part 2, you're having a media event for this singular game, and And that kind of goes to show the gravitas and the caliber of a game like The Last of Us Part 2, and to me, this is going to be the swan song exclusive for the PlayStation 4. Yes, Ghost of Tsushima is on the way as well, but I could very well see Ghost of Tsushima transitioning into a cross-generation title, or it could be a game that comes out on the PS4 and then shortly thereafter, quickly thereafter, it sees a PS5 release as well. I wouldn't be shocked at all. In all honesty, I see The Last of Us Part 2 getting a PS5 release as well, but if it is released in February, it's a ways off from the PS5 release where it's still gonna be seen as a PlayStation 4 game. But if it is released in February, it's still a ways off enough from the release of the PlayStation 5 where people are still gonna associate the PlayStation 4 with it. Where in the case of Ghost of Tsushima, let's say it's released in August or September of 2020, and then let's say the PlayStation 5 comes out in October or November, probably November, well then at that point, people would probably just wait the additional month or two to get the game on the PS5. That's just a hypothetical theory from my standpoint, but that is what I expect. Hopefully come September 24th, we finally get a release date, and of course, we'll keep you guys posted on all of the information that comes out regarding The Last of Us Part 2, because this is a game I know so many of you, including myself, have been waiting to hear more on. Okay, moving on from that, the reviews on Greedfall are coming out, Spider's latest RPG published by Focus Home Interactive, and they are looking very positive. Currently, the game has a 75 on Metacritic, and the reviews are coming in pretty strong. A 75 on Metacritic is relatively good, and whenever it's a lower budget game like this, a 75 is completely acceptable, and it does put it head and shoulders above Spider's other games. I believe Technomancer is at a 59, and it's not like Mars Warlogs, as much as I like that game, was received all that better either. To give you guys an idea of some of the reviews, Push Square gave it a 7 out of 10, saying Greedfall is Spider's best game by some distance, and it's impressive how far the developer has come in just a few short years. It successfully scratches that BioWare itch with an intriguing world, likable characters, and rock-solid gameplay. However, aside from its unique setting, nothing about Greedfall truly stands out. Its combat is good, but not great. Its role-playing is largely fine, but ultimately stunted, and its writing is competent, but sometimes boring. Greedfall is right on the cusp of being something special. RPG fans will find a lot to like, but don't go into expecting the genre's next masterpiece. So that's generally my expectations going into the release of the game, but hey, if it's a sizable step up from Spider's other games, that's enough for them to parlay that success into another RPG. You see them with some consistency, you see them getting better and better, and hey, maybe if you open up the budget a little bit more, their next RPG could be even better. GamePro Germany was pretty positive about the game, giving it an 8, saying the biggest drawback, probably due to the budget, is the game world itself, which looks too uniform and empty. Often we just run from one point to another as if on rails, fighting in the fun and varied combat system against two light standard options to reach the real highlight of the game, the different factions with their stories. So again, some drawbacks, but if you actually talk about it from a story standpoint, it looks rather positive, and PlayStation Universe scored it an 8 out of 10, saying Greedfall stands as Spider's most successful game today, bar none. Despite its issues, nothing gets in the way of the game's ambition and heart. Anyone looking for a standout deep action RPG will find it in Greedfall with its different narrative paths and various ways to build your character. There are so many reasons to play through multiple times, so that's great as well. That's something I was going in to the release of the game. I was touting this game to be incredibly replayable, and based on the reviews, it looks like based on the decision making, based on all of the customization options with your character, based on all of the difficulty options as well, you can't forget about that, given that this game has a lot of layers in actually tailoring the gameplay exactly how you want to. Playing the game multiple times is going to freshen up your experience and give you a little bit of something different each time you go through it. So again, a 75 on Metacritic, not a bad score at all, and that score is going to fluctuate a little bit as more and more reviews are posted. So we'll see how things shake out by the end of the week, but if you're a fan of RPGs, at the very least, keep this one on your wish list, pick it up on a sale. With Monster Hunter World Iceborne as well as Borderlands 3 just a few days away, you know, it's a hard time to fit in Greedfall, but it does look like it's a rather good game. And speaking of Monster Hunter World Iceborne, Amazon has got a great deal on the game. I mean, it just came out, and you can get the base game, which is Monster Hunter World, and the Iceborne expansion in one package. That's the Master Edition, and you'll get that for $49.99. Obviously, this released at $59.99, so to get it $10 off is quite good. Iceborne is priced at $40 standalone, so essentially, if you look at it as getting Monster Hunter World for $10 and paying full price for Iceborne, hell yeah, that is a great deal. And if you just pick this up, honestly, you could probably forget about every game that's coming out in the fall and just be invested into Monster Hunter World, given how much content is in this game. Obviously, I'm sure the majority of you guys won't go that route, but if we're just talking about it from a value standpoint and content standpoint, Monster Hunter World is pretty insane, and Iceborne makes it even more ridiculous. $50 flat for it is really good, although I do imagine that it's gonna get a deeper discount come like Black Friday time, given the fact that usually whenever these complete editions are released, or these expanded editions, they tend to go on sale rather quickly, and we're kind of seeing that with Iceborne. And if come Black Friday it's down to like $29.99 $24.99 or $24.99, well, that would be absolutely insane, so waiting might end up paying dividends. However, if we're just assessing it from a quality and content standpoint, Monster Hunter World Iceborne Master Edition is a phenomenal pickup right now. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, The Last of Us Part 2 media event is set for September 24th. I am imagining that a release date will finally be announced. I imagine that it'll be coming in February. Let's hope that is the case because I can't wait to play that. Greedfall is getting some very good reviews, 75 on Metacritic right now. Let's see how that fluctuates over the course of the week, but early reviews looking quite positive. And Monster Hunter World Iceborne Master Edition, $49.99 on Amazon. We'll leave a link to that in the description box down below. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.